Alright, what is going on YouTube? The final chance for any player to get into the main event of Red Bull Wololo 5, a $100,000 prize pool LAN event held in the wonderful castle of Heidelberg, Germany. We are gonna have a best of 7 between Slam and Barles over here. Slam was really powerful in the previous sets that he have played. We have actually seen quite a lot of that, so I've casted quite a bit from him. On the other hand, all I have to say is that Barles, number 1, he qualified for Hidden Cup 4. Number 2, he 4-1, or well, I wanted to say he won 4-1 against Bacti, but he pretty much smashed Bacti in the previous round. I haven't seen that set, but to defeat Bacti 4-1, you have to do something right. Barles will have Wade, Clivity, Winged as his home maps, Haboob, Meadow, Enclosed are Slam's home maps, Saracens, Teutons, Britons, Cumans, Franks, Incas, Khmer available for Slam, Ethiopians, Berbers, Turks, Tatars, Magyars, Mayans, Huns, and Mongols for Barles. I slightly like Barles' draft a little bit better in this one. And we got MVH Gustav with the new tier 1 sub. I appreciate it a lot. Welcome. Thank you so much for the support over here. As I am going to jump into the next game here. So let's go. Welcome everybody to the first game in this best of 7 in between Slam and Barles. This is, as I said, for a shot to play in the Red Bull Wololo 5 main event. You're gonna have an interesting Civ matchup over here, not something that you often see. Huns is a perfectly fine Arabia civilization that is going to be the Civ for Barles in yellow, and Slam will be playing Britons in red down south. Mobility definitely favors the Huns over here as we have an early scout scuffle, as we will have... Wait a minute. Barles messed up something really badly here. The villagers are not building the stable. What's happening? I think he actually shift queued the villagers and something went wrong with the shift queue. It might not have been Barles' mistake. It may have been just the game itself acting wanky. But one thing is sure. That stable over there is going to be delayed really heavily. Something that hurts awfully for Barles. So the reason why I don't see Huns on Arabia very often in Red Bull Wololo is because it is just better elsewhere. There is a lot of good Arabia civilizations, or, well, runestones if you want to put it that way. And Huns is just so multifunctional as a cavalry civ, as an archer civ, as a hybrid map civilization that you usually end up using it elsewhere. It looks like that's not gonna be the case over here. We'll have archer range coming in immediately for Barles, as he wants to add a couple of skirms. And this is where we have to mention that the unit diversity will actually favor Huns quite a bit in this one. Slam moving out with the archers right now, supported by spears. Barles will have a range up for skirms defense. Woes off the left side of his base. Right side is semi-open, but his gold mine is safe in this one. Slam goes for a lot of woes, something that he has done quite a bit in the previous rounds as well. So he wants to play a little bit more of a defensive focused game. Something he has to against a civilization that has a lot more mobility than he does. So, woes are up for Slam over here. For now, it's one range archers with fletching. Not a single eco upgrade for Slam, so this is basically a fast castle build here. He's moving out with archers, and his scout is able to take down that skirmisher to pretty low HP, might even be able to finish it off. That's nice value there for Slam. And now the archers are about to hit the berries. Slam has caught the start a lot better, I believe, as Barles is scrambling to run back to the safety of the TC, but he's gonna have to abandon his berries. A market is coming in, and I believe that the plan here for Barles is to sell the stone and go triple range cav archers in Castlage. That's the first villager casualty of the game, courtesy of Slam's archers. And last time I checked, there isn't really a huge amount of skirms here, so this is gonna be a rough one for Barles. Now goes for the defense upgrade. Nice quick wall over there to prevent the archers from running in, but I feel like this start was just very wacky for Barles over here. We have to point out that Barles is Polish, and this should be about 11 PM for him when he's playing, so not necessarily his most common playing time, I would say, but it is what it is. You gotta play when you gotta play, so that just happens. But the micro here from Slam seems to be a lot better, and, well, Barles is not actively dying over here. The problem that he's facing is that he is just going to be stuck in feudal for too long. You see that Slam, if he had a little bit more gold, he would be on the way to Castle Age by now. And that is going to be disturbing for Barles. Because once you get to Castle Age, Britain's faster working range, as I mentioned that as well, that people like the Civilization and Empire Wars that are capable of mass-producing units very easily. And Britain's is one of those faster working ranges, is a very nice bonus. So you're gonna be facing a lot of crossbows here soon if you are Barles. Looks like he's gonna find a way up to Castle Age pretty fast though. So if you think about it... why wheelbarrow? Okay. I almost got a heart attack here. I almost got a heart attack. In this situation, you gotta click up, and that's just the power of Hans, to be honest, that he was definitely on the back foot, way worse eco, and in the end, it's only about a minute difference into Castle Age time. That's perfectly fine for Barles. I like that he's expanding his walls a little bit over here. Would be cool if he actually had the tile here, so that it's actually counting as double layer. As now the skirmishers do arrive. Slam doesn't have a huge amount of archers here, but the bigger deal is that he only has archers. He's now adding a stable for a couple of knights, but this is where the diversity of the Hunnic unit tech tree or unit composition is going to start showing. Second range on the way for Barles. I think that Barles will have to start with skirmisher defense and add some knights to that one, but probably continue on with cav archers. Obviously, cav archers will struggle at the beginning when it comes to, you know, matching up against archers, but you're gonna have to use your mobility. Britons are too slow, as Barles is gonna start stonewalling. I like that quite a bit. He understands that Slam is in Castle Age. Archers will try to poke around his walls, as that is a disaster though for Barles. He needs a stone wall there. He just needs to poke down that scout and build the stone wall, but oh boy, the archers now arrive. This guy is able to get the stone wall up just in time. It's going to cost some villagers over here for Barles, but he gets the stone walls up. Nicely done. And now the elite skirms are coming from behind, so you gotta be careful if you're Slam over here. I like that Barles is doing the stone walls. Gives you some safety. Obviously, that means that you're not gonna have as many pieces as your opponent, but with Hans, that may not be the worst thing ever. You probably can play 1 TC quite easily over here. Stonewall once again for Barles. He now has lost 3 villagers, and there is more coming in. That's 4. But he's gonna trap that group of crossbows. So Barles is playing a terrible gamble here, I believe. He wants to trap those crossbows. If he's successful doing that, this is actually a win for him, because he's gonna clean up the entire army of Slam. But if he is not successful, he's going to end up losing so many vills, and I think Slam realized that it's all about killing vills now, because he's gonna lose this army anyways. Slam has gotten 8 vills. That is pretty brutal, and he might get a couple more. As another one goes down, this might be a fast game here. Things just didn't line up for Barles in this first one. His stable got delayed, and now Slam is just capitalizing on that pain. There is already knights coming in as well for Slam to deal with the skirmishers. From this point on, the only hope for Barles is that he can actually get a couple of cav archers out and just basically deny the wood lines and make Slam's eco pretty dysfunctional. That's the only hope here. But even that is just a slim hope, I would say, because this is still open. That is an open tile, and you can walk in there if I'm not mistaken. Slam has killed 10 villagers so far, clinical precision at this point, and we are gonna have the cav archers out. So that's the only shot here for Barles. He needs to play a long game in which he's able to stretch out the attention of Slam and just raid his eco to death. That's the only chance, because he won't be able to take a direct fight anymore. The cav archers do have Botkin, and they do have the extra pierce armor, but no bloodlines, no husbandry on them just yet. Do you start with houses in Red Bull? Or, well, in Empire Wars, actually. Even if you're Hans, yes, you do. And it actually matters because it helps you wall your base. So it would be sort of unfair. It doesn't matter because you're at 200 pop, so you could lose any of these houses, absolutely doesn't matter. What matters is that this actually can act as wall section for you. Siege Workshop coming in here for Slam against the skirmishers already in the middle of the map. one thing that needs to be done now for Barles is probably get at least +1 defense for the Knights. Make a couple of Knights so that he can snipe the siege weapons. Because otherwise he's gonna be in trouble. He's behind by 15 wheels already, and I feel like this is just a slow and painful death here for Barles. So, now Barles coming in with the hill control, but we're looking into even army, but Slam has 14 wheels advantage and he's already 3 TCs. Slam has a very, very good micro here as well. You see all 3 TCs working. Nothing really to criticize. This is a completely different Slam from what we have seen in the previous Red Bull. In the previous Red Bull, he was very, very defensive. I remember a game versus Valas where Slam just stood there with his units, never really attacked Valas, and Valas just outboomed him. So this is a very, very new Slam and a very, very good Slam that we're seeing. One of the best Slams I've ever seen. As a siege workshop will be built here by Barles, or at least that's the plan. That's going to be denied by the crossbows. Cav archers now moving in on this side, and it looks like the Cav archers will loop all the way around, trying to hit the back of this wood line. That's the only hope here for Barles. That's the only hope. That villager is history. Nice move from Slam there. Slam doesn't have ballistics, which makes his life a little bit harder. But, I mean, he's got so many crossbows that someone is going to hit that villager, right? So there goes another will. And there may even be an overchop here, but even if there isn't, there is nothing really stopping these crossbows from marching into the base of Barles. Barles trying to loop around, but as I said, he's taking too much damage. He has already taken way too much. And now Slam is just going to sit on his lead, and he can afford to throw away a couple of crossbows here, but we won't even see that happening. This game just didn't go Barles' way. Maybe he wasn't warmed up appropriately, or just things slipped out of his control early. But first off, that stable was heavily delayed. Then just everything fell apart in Feudal already. He lost way too many wills. Like 13 wills in a 16-minute Empire Wars game is a GG moment. And Barles, he actually ends up resigning after those crossbows break into his big base. We can only hope that Barles is going to be a little bit better in the upcoming games, because if not, this is going to be a very, very short best of 7 here. Because this was, once again, clinical precision from Slam and kind of sloppy, unfortunately, for Barles. With that, Slam is going to win with Britons, and I believe that the Huns would have had the civ advantage in the long run, so that's also an advantage for Slam over here, that he has probably taken down one of the better civilizations of the opponent with this game. Very, very clear-cut victory here for Slam. So, we are going back to the lobby, and we are going to see what the next game holds for us. And that is going to be the first home map of Barles. So he's got a pretty diverse list of maps for his home maps. He's got Winged, which is a very open, very aggressive map. He's got Wade, which is a slower paced map. And he's got Clivity, which is sort of the medium speed one. So I think based on the fact that he got outplayed pretty heavily over here, you probably want the slower paced one. So I'm vouching for Wade. Alternative is that you want to go super aggro and just go for Winged. He still has Ethiopians available, something that he saved, but he sort of sacrificed Huns, something I don't like, because Huns would have been very useful on maybe Meadow. I think Meadow is probably the go-to place for Huns. So if it's Acclivity, it could be Magyars, it could be Mayans, because Mezzo is pretty, or American civilizations are pretty strong on Acclivity. But it could also be Turks. We have seen Turks being used on Acclivity, or Mongols. Someone actually today on stream asked why Mongols are not used very heavily in Empire Wars, and I said that's because you don't have a lot of safe hunt. On the other hand, Acclivity offers quite a lot of hunt on the outside. It's somewhat risky to take it, but nonetheless, there is hunt. So Mongols could be an idea there for Barles. Looks like we're going to Acclivity. So we will indeed take a look. Lots of Deering Wade. I haven't seen Wade played at all. I've seen it drafted, but we always had the sets ending before Wade was played, or at least in the ones that I've casted. So, Mongols is a possibility for Wade, if you say so. I am going to believe that. So, looks like the next game is up in a matter of moments. We know it's gonna be a Clivity. What will Slam do for this map, though? Because there is a lot of things that he can do with his civilizations. He's got a pretty plug-and-play combination of civs. I feel like looking at this one, Meadow seems to be most natural for Khmer or Habub. Incas is a civilization for winged maybe, but you get Bulgarians, so I think Bulgarians will be winged. It could mean that Incas are going to be used on Clivity here. Because as I said, the American civilizations are pretty strong on this map. So Incas could be a pretty decent, in quotation marks, Aztec substitute or budget Aztecs, whichever way you want to put it. I guess we're going to see it in a matter of moments. The spec countdown is going to go down. We are going to Acclivity. Barles decides to go for Tatars. Slam decides to go for Incas. So indeed it's Incas against Tatars. That's a tough matchup for Tatars. Even with Thumbring, the Eagle Warriors are always a problem to deal with for these archer civilizations. Oftentimes you see the American civilization being the pick here because, you know, you would have Eagles against the archer civs that are so common in this map. This map has a lot of potential to deny resources, which encourages players to pick archer civs. If you pick archer civs, the opponent can counterpick that with a Meso civilization or an American civilization. So, let's get into the game over here. Slam versus Barles. Game number 2 is on as the spec countdown winds down. And here we go. Welcome to Acclivity. We're gonna have a Slam on the right side as Incas in red. Left side will be Barles as yellow Tatars. Barles is opening with an archer range immediately, whereas for Slam, that is going to be an archer range as well. Queuing up an eagle almost immediately. It will be followed by a spearman, so that he can actually deal with the initial scout of the opponent. Both players have moderately vulnerable bases. Sometimes the resources are quite on the outer edge, so these are semi-wallable maps. It's definitely possible to wall them, and usually players are capable of doing that, but it's not easy. It takes quite a lot of wood and time, and I like how Barles is coming in here with the scout, doing a bit of a harassment on Slam's villager. Another eagle pops out, and it looks like Slam is not even adding spearman, so it's just gonna be full eagle for Slam from this point on. So here, Tatars probably will have to play very heavy on knights, otherwise they will die to the eagles. The good news is that this is not Aztecs. Incas can do something very similar to Aztecs, but they have a weaker economy and weaker military production, so you won't be encountering that many eagles, and that is something that helps Barles quite a bit. That's the difference between Incas and Aztecs here, that Aztecs will flood you with eagles a lot easier than Incas do. Still, the fact that you have eagles available is definitely something that you can actually utilize to secure some map control early. Slam also opened with skirmishers instead of actual archers, so he's gonna go on the full archer counter pathway, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a stable here in a moment for Barles. Looks like for now he's actually gonna play double range archers, so he may even continue with crossbows, especially considering that he's banking up a lot of food, so looks like he wants to play fast castle here. The problem is that his gold mine is wide open. What is Barles doing? This isn't gonna work. Oh my goodness, something is wrong with Barles here. Something must be wrong, because so far he's underperforming so badly. This game could be over very soon if those eagles find the gold miners, because from that point on, gold denied, you don't have gold for archers, you have to make skirms, and the eagles will eat your skirms. This is a disaster for Barles. He can still villager fight those Eagles here, but I mean, from this point on, we're talking about eco inefficiency. So this is the problem that Barles is facing. As I said, Barles needs to step his game up compared to the first one if he wants to have a series that's longer than 50 minutes. So now it's 8 army versus 6. The problem is that there is Eagles here. And that's why American civs are so beloved in Empire Wars. Even Incas, that are the weakest among the three, is just the pure fact that you can make Eagles. So we are gonna have Brave Sir Robin with the resub. I appreciate it. Good evening to you as well. Welcome, welcome. Not so good evening for Barles, apparently, as things are standing, because there's a couple of archers joining the fight now, and from this point on, it's just pure idle time and chasing those Eagles for Barles. You see that he's slowly losing HP on those villagers, and at this pace, he's eventually going to lose some of those villagers, so not looking amazing by any means for Barles in this one. Fine decides to go for defensive tower, but I feel like if you play this open on this map, especially against an American civ, then you need to make a tower immediately. Alternative would have been to wall this one as soon as possible, and like at the first, Slam was pretty defensive, so the thing is that you could have actually walled that if you wanted to. Looks like Barles decided not to do that, and now he is going to pay the price. It's only 2 villagers killed though, but there is no gold, and that's the problem for Barles. He's also making a tower, so he can't sell the stone to go up to Castle Age. He really tries to get up to Castle, but the thing is that when you're so desperate to get up, and you just have such an inefficient economy, your opponent is going to catch up with you on that one, and that's exactly what's happening. Slam will pretty much have a comparable Castle Age time to Barles. And if it's a pure Cav Archer play from Barles, that's also a bad decision. You don't go straight Cav Archers against American civs, because they will already have a bunch of Eagles out by the time you reach Castle Age, if you click up at approximately the same time. And you won't have a lot of upgrades, you will just get overrun. If you want to play Archers against Eagles, then you have to open with crossbows, because you need numbers in early Castle Age, and then slowly transition to CA. Not looking amazing right now for Barles, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Slam could have gotten a big advantage here. Am I wrong? Not necessarily. I don't agree with that statement, because he didn't really have a lot of army. Slam did get a big advantage. So, make no mistake, Slam has actually pretty much made Barles' eco very, very dysfunctional here. Barles had a lot of idle time, had to do villager fighting. A huge amount of idle time was there for Barles because of this. So, I don't think that Slam could have done a lot more here. I think Slam did what he had to. I think it's just the fact that Barles is now probably doing a bad decision. This wants to be straight Cav Archers, but I'm not even sure if he can actually afford consistent production of Cav Archers from triple ranges. And if you go straight CA, then you need triple ranges. That's something that he's going for just now. So, straight Cav Archers coming in here. Botkin Arrow is on the way. He won't be able to afford Bloodlines or Husbandry. Both of those upgrades would be pretty vital against Eagles. And at this point, Slam should just go triple Barracks Eagles. And it looks like we are going to have a forward Siege Workshop already. Slam will just press on. And he knows exactly that Barles will not be able to use the mobility of his Cav Archers if Slam is just raiding him. And that's exactly what Slam is doing. It's a bit risky to let all of those Eagles trapped in there. But looks like Slam is just going to disengage. Doesn't even have Squires, and I don't like that he's now running around over here, just like that. But it actually allows him to get the Siege Workshop up in the middle, because Barles is distracted. So this may be intentional. He's also waiting for Squires to come in, and he's also waiting for Eagle Warrior plus Chainmail to come in, and now he unleashes the Eagles right on top of the Gold Miners, as you should. You take down the first couple of gold miners, make your opponent unable to make any gold units, and then the next wave of Eagles finishes it off. That's usually the way it's done. Aztecs do it the same way, just have much better Eagle production because they have the bonus on there. Second TC coming in for Slam. So he's not even going to try to snowball this one. He just wants to play sort of, okay, I have the advantage. and just build on that advantage. There's quite a lot of low HP Eagles in that group, so it might be worth it for Slam to just send these back home and garrison into a TC so that he can heal those up. He doesn't need to heal it up entirely, but you probably do not want Eagles with like free HP running around. Or alternative is that you use them to just deny resources here on the outside, because oftentimes players will have to expand there. It's the first time in a while that Barles will have the opportunity to run around with his CA and try to pick off Wills, but once again, Barles is sort of stuck on 1 TC, and Slam is already on 3. So I just struggle to see how Barles will catch up with Slam's economy here. There is no overchop over here just yet. Scorpion trying to harass the gold miners. I think if you just look at those eco numbers, that tells you a lot about the game. 32 on wood for Barles, 6 on food, 0 on gold, 0 on stone. This is not sustainable. This is not sustainable at all, and there is no Cav Archers coming, which means that eventually these CA will get overrun by Eagles. Or even if they don't, they will just ignore the Cav Archers and go straight towards the gold mine. Look at that outpost even from Slam. He just wants to see what his opponent is doing. He probably doesn't even believe that that's it from Barles. Slam is approaching this a lot more cautiously than he should. I don't blame him for it, because he probably also thinks that Barles is capable of more, so he's probably like, okay, Barles must be planning something. He must be having 10 knights over here at the back. I have to be careful. And as I said, I agree with the fact that he has to be careful in this situation, because one bad fight and he could lose the game. The thing, however, is that there is just no chance for Barles to take any fights at this point. So it's about Slam thinking that his opponent is actually playing at a good level, whereas right now Barles is having a tough time. He's not really playing well. I have seen Barles play a lot better, so maybe he's not warmed up appropriately, maybe it's late in the evening for him, I don't know. But this is probably not the Barles that defeated Bacti 4-1. I can guarantee you that. So the good news for Barles is that despite the fact that Slam is ahead by 2 TCs, really, there is barely any villager discrepancy between the two players. So if Barles is able to somehow secure that gold mine, then he might have a chance to get a couple more Cav Archers out and start raiding those wood lines. The problem is that Slam is just getting some more Scorpions out. I think he could have gotten 2 Manganols, because the thing is that Scorpions are nice here and they will deny the second layering and destroy the Cav Archers, but they don't destroy the tower. So there is a hole. Nope, there is no hole here. No arson on those eagles just yet, but that house is disgustingly weak, and looks like Slam is not going to commit to this push. A Mangonel pops out from Barles, takes a shot, and actually hits a Scorpion, and now it looks like Slam or Barles will commit. So that is just idle time. It's all about idle time now for Barles. 43% worker efficiency and 71 for Slam. I think I answered the question on chat as well with that. It actually is a combination of a bunch of factors, mostly how efficient your workers were. Basically how much idle time there was and stuff like that. So the higher the percentage, the better it is. Now, if there is any way for Barles back into this game, it might be this overchop. Because I think without this one, he would have no chance. But he is inside the base of Slam over here, killing quite a few Wills. This might distract Slam quite a bit, and there could be some good Mangonel shots coming in for Barles while Slam is distracted. Eagles now coming in, worst possible spot to unpop your Mangonel if you are Barles, but looks like Slam wasn't paying attention, and Slam is going to lose no more Scorpions because the Mangonel missed the shot. So, Scorpion still there, Eagles trying to get into the base of Barles over here. Barely any gold income from Barles from here, but what's more important is that he was able to move out. And Slam isn't looking for those villagers. That's a bit of a mistake. Slam needs to be a lot more active looking for villagers on the outside, because if there is any place for Barles to fall back to, that's gonna be out there, on the outside. And slowly but surely the Cav Archer numbers are increasing for Barles. Villager count heavily in the favor of Slam though, so once again, Barles is trying his best, but I feel like Slam is just 3 steps ahead right now, and it's just only a matter of time until those Eagles get into Barles' base, and he knows that. He knows that exactly, This game was lost on not having walls here. This map is wallable and it should be walled. Because otherwise, the players are so close to each other that just one bad fight and the entire game snowballs out of your control. That's exactly what happened. Slam was able to just harass the gold miners of Barles. Barles was able to, or Barles actually had his castle age delayed because of that, and from that point on, it's just a downward spiral. We have a relatively even KD, as you see. It's just a matter of this 4,000 resources already in a pretty short game. I certainly hope that Barles will actually take 3 minutes of a break, refresh himself, and come back as a new person over here, because as I said, this is sort of an underperforming Barles right now that we are seeing over here, and a very, very well performing Slam to add, by the way. So this is a combination of Slam playing insanely good and Barles sort of underperforming, as I said in this one. Clivity is in the hands of Slam as well. Incas will be a win, and Tatars will be a loss. This will be Slam's second Red Bull Wololo main event. He played in the first one, and in the first one, it wasn't group stage, it was single elimination, and he played Mr. Yo in the main event in the first round. He lost 3-0, and then that Mr. Yo went on to march into the grand finals and defeat Viper 4-0. So he actually lost to the future champion of the tournament. Obviously something that may not entirely represent his skill set at that time. He got a very, very tough opponent at the beginning. So, game number 3 is once again on the home map of Barles, Wade or Winged. I think this is one of those tough decisions where it depends on how Barles sees his chances on either of these maps. You don't want to leave Winged as your final home map, because if you actually end up losing Wade now, you would go to a very aggressive map that could snowball really easily in the final one. That's not something that you like. On the other hand, if you take Winged now, as I said, this map can snowball really fast. If it actually snowballs out of control in the favor of Slam, Barles will be down 3 games, so it would be a constant match point danger. Yeah, it has been 10 hours since I've been online. We have just cracked the 10 hours mark. It's 10 hours and 4 minutes. I'm doing the long day. I'm usually doing that for Red Bulls. So we started 7:30 a.m. my time because we had the Slam versus Sitaux set. So we have casted 3 Slam sets today. Started with Slam versus Sitaux, then Slam versus Fire, and now Slam versus Barles. It looks like Krazin is saying Barles needs a couple of minutes. So I was right. He also doesn't feel... I'm not saying he doesn't feel confident in his skills. He also feels that he is not playing on the level that he's used to playing. So I agree with that. Take a couple of minutes of break, refresh yourself, reset your mind, because this is far from gone. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when Barles qualified for Hidden Cup, he was also down against Hart in the deciders. I'm gonna have to double check that. But if I remember appropriately, we had Barles down against Hart. Exactly. Barles won the first game in Hidden Cup 4 qualifiers, Arabia, against Hart. Then he lost 3 in a row. So it was 3-1 for Hart, match point, and then Barles wins 3 in a row to come back and end the series 4-3. An absolutely legendary set it was. So it was a beautiful set. He sort of needs that kind of mental reset right now as well. Do you know what happened to Project Belgium? I don't know the details, but the thing is that Twitter has it, AoE Zone has it, any place which, you know, people that are watching and playing AoE too frequently and has news on it probably has something about that. So that's probably the best place. I know Hera has posted something on Twitter. I didn't have time to check it out yet, but internet probably knows it more than I do. What I know for sure, and that's all I'm gonna say so that I don't start explaining something I am not completely aware of myself, is that there was a problem setting up the game at the appropriate time for whatever reason. I don't know that for sure, but as I said, many people have posted about that one. I know it's somewhat controversial, and I know Hera has tweeted details, so that's probably the more reliable source. What I know is that the admin decision was that Project Belgium takes the admin loss. I don't know if it's a good admin decision or bad, because as I said, I don't have an in-depth insight to the situation itself. I'm just sad that we missed the potentially very, very good set. But that's basically the feeling when any admin win or admin loss comes in, right? So that's just the way it is. So the game has started, and it looks like we're going to wade over here. Franks versus Mongols is the name of the game. Slam is gonna go for a civilization that's gonna have an insanely hard time against Mongols here. This is a civ advantage for Barles in late game, but let's take a look at early game first. This is the first game I'm casting on Wade, by the way. I have seen like 1 or 2 games being played over here, but this is gonna be a new map for me as well. It looks like it's a marshland, so let's quickly talk through what's happening here. You have a marshland in the middle with a bunch of gold. There is some shorefish jumping around, but not an awful lot. But this terrain should be walkable by ships and units as well, so docks could be a possibility. You also have quite a lot of berries to start with, so this reminds me a little bit of Aztlan in that regard. The players will be placing a stable here on the left side for Barles in yellow, and on the right side we're gonna have Franks. The presence of this many berries sort of explains picking Franks over here, and Slam is gonna make a defensive tower there. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the defensive tower, because the thing is that it's good against archers, not good against scouts, and I think that Barles' star is probably a little bit better over here. Comes up with the walls. These walls would have been better over here, but not the biggest deal ever. Spearman coming forward from Barles to poke around. And it looks like Slam wants to play Frankish archers. What is the obsession of people with Frankish archers? I am seeing them so frequently. Now this will be scouted by Barles, and considering that Slam is going to be fully walled, I don't think that those scouts can do that much of a damage. The good news is for Barles though is that he might be able to push away Slam from this patch of berries, and that's already a massive boost to the food eco for Barles, because Slam would not have access to the berries which give him his eco bonus, whereas Barles would have access to the hunt. By the way, Barles has a lot of idols here. That actually hurts really badly. If these Voyagers were gathering, he would already be almost ready to click up to Castle Age. There is also some elephants in the middle that you could actually try luring in if you were extremely brave. And okay, so you're apparently unable to dock. Oh yeah, because there's a dark patch over here. I was completely blind. That's good. That's good. By the way, I don't know what happened here. It's probably just a bit of a glitch here on those corners. But yeah, absolutely true. You can't dock because of these dark patch over here. That's probably good, because otherwise it could end up in a stalemate, as now we have the scout from Slam arriving over here. Barles will send the spearman to deal with that, as we will have skirms and scouts coming in. For Barles, he's gonna try to push the berries of his opponent over here. Not a huge amount of scouts available. In fact, it's only 2 scouts. So it's more like a bit of a poking around, but no one is really bothering pushing the opponent. So, for now, Barles remains on 1 stable, 1 range. And here's the question, what do you do here with Mongols? The ideal unit would obviously be Mangadai. Like, by far. Mangadai is the go-to unit here. But you don't have stone for a castle immediately, you're not mining stone, so that's not gonna be a thing. You're going for the Mongol Cav Archer play, right? Mongol Cav Archers do fire faster, so that is, even though it's not as good as Mangadai, it's still something that Franks will struggle against. Because, in general, these heavy cavalry civilizations struggle really badly against Cav Archer play. So, for now, Barles will just use these leftover scouts to scout what his opponent is doing, and Slam looks like he just wants to go for full crossbowman here, but only one range worth of crossbow production. Is it CA? It has to be CA, because Barles is not producing anything, and there is the third range. Triple range cav archers is not something that you can generally afford with Mongols, but there is an exception. If you have some hunt, then your food eco is very, very good, and you can send more wheels to wood and gold, so you should be able to afford triple stable CA, or triple range CA to be precise. Slam will also spot this one, so he knows what to prepare for. Adds a stable, and the archers are now moving out. Barles will probably need a couple of skirmishers here. Not an awful lot, but like 5, 6, 7 skirmishers. Something that holds off those archers until the cav archer numbers rise. Once we get to like 4 or 5 CA, it should be easy peasy to hold for Barles. It looks like Barles is actually going for a lead skirm here. He's playing this one safe. Lead skirm is gonna need some time until it actually finishes. And the problem with the lead skirm upgrade is that Slam wants to switch back to cavalry, but not gonna lie, Slam isn't really investing that much into army. He's got one range, one stable, not really focusing that much on military production. Let's see the skirmisher dance in this one. Elite skirms almost in for our yellow player Barles. His villagers will be idle here for a brief moment, but we have seen worse, so I don't think that's a big issue. In fact, the skirmishers cleaning up the crossbows is probably value there for Barles. Meanwhile, you are gonna have defense upgrade coming in for Slam. And what's interesting for Slam is that his eco is so bad right now. And that's surprising with Franks. He still has the berries available. The big thing for Slam is probably that he actually went for a defensive tower, but there is some questionable things like defensive mangonel or defensive scorpion here. He's playing very defensive as if he wanted to play a long game, but he can't afford to play a long game against Mongols, because what's going to happen now is that Barles needs to TC this stone mine over here so that he can actually start mining stone and potentially go for a TC on a wood line. Somewhere around over here could make sense. So Barles needs to play for a long game because he's Mongol, so he would love to play a long game against Franks. Whereas for Slam, he's just sitting back, and my main problem is that it's one thing that he isn't really making army. He isn't really adding eco either. Okay, now he's buying stone, and he's also in the need of buying wood for additional TCs. So he tries to boom, but that's gonna be a pretty slow thing. Still, if Barles remains on triple range CA, then Slam is gonna be able to outboom him. And I think the key here for Barles is that he has to understand that he can also add a TC, and he should also add a TC. He needs to see that Slam doesn't really have an army on the field, so he needs to start booming himself, because otherwise Slam is just going to flat out outboom him. There might be an overchop here, something that's worth looking into. Knights are on the field. They do have the plus 20 HP from Franks, which is the equivalent of Bloodlines, but not even plus 1 defense, so the cav archers would eat them for breakfast. And that's exactly what you're seeing over here. Skirmishers focusing down the crossbows in this one. Scorpions joining the fun. For now, still 1 TC only for Barles. Slam is now adding the second TC on the gold mine over here. Also secures the berries and the hunt. Nice little thing. And we're gonna have a university for Barles. So he wants fast ballistics here instead of an additional town center. Could make some sense, but then Barles needs to start pressing the issue and start to become a little bit more proactive with his cav archers. And the thing is that Slam is so well walled that it's hard for the CA to break in. These palisade walls are definitely the weak spot, so that's where Barles has to try and get into the base of Slam, and if he ever gets in, Slam is in a serious trouble. But until then, Slam can just get away with a free TC boom against a build that's supposed to be very aggressive. Triple range CA is usually an aggressive build here, but you gotta play aggressive in that case. Husbandry coming in for Slam, pretty important upgrade to catch up with those cav archers. Husbandry as well for Barles, who seems to... I think he just right-clicked inside the base of Slam, and he hoped that there is a hole on Slam's walls, and there was a hole, but that's beneath the TC, and he just took a massive beating on his cav archers. Quite a few of those CA are now damaged, so not ideal by any means here for Barles. He is still having the same villager count as his opponent, but that won't remain that way for a long time, as Slam is now adding a lot of farming eco. Obviously, free heavy plow helps quite a bit as well at making that sustainable, as looks like Barles will start to vola himself off in this low corner. Still no stone mining operation though from the Mongol player or an additional town center. Looks like Cav Archers are galloping to the right side, Ballistics on the way as well. This is definitely a weak spot over here, and it could make life very hard for Slam if those CA broke in on the right side. There is just no way that he actually was all this gap behind in time. This one might be doable, but it looks like there is an opportunity here arising for Barles to get in. He's got Ballistics as well on those CA, so now those are pretty well upgraded. The question is, do you want to commit here? Because there is Scorpions, there is Crossbowmen, and I feel like Barles might need to change his mind, or he's just gonna commit. Now, behind this one, there is the Knights counter-attacking, something that Barles will have to micro as well, and chain barring is on the way, so soon those Cav Archers will have a tough time dealing with the Knights. The Cav Archers, though, able to take down the crossbows, as a University Wall will come in here for Slam. Slam is doing a beautiful job just containing that break in here. And honestly, now those Cav Archers are trapped, so we got the answer. It may not have been worth it for Barles to break into the base of the opponent after all. 5 villagers advantage on the side of Slam. In this one, pretty consistent villager production, so that lead will just keep growing. This is the type of thing that Barles needs to do though. Just harass with villager or with Cav Archers. Because it's one thing that Slam's economy is going to be stronger. One way that you can compensate for that is just by having so many raids and so many units that are just able to deny resources. Cav Archers now coming in here. The Knights do have +2 defense, but Slam doesn't have an amazing army here. He has 7 Knights, and it looks like that's gonna turn into 6 and 5 now. Slam is in trouble here, because the Cav Archers are going straight into his eco, and despite the fact that he's supposed to have the better eco, he does not. Villagers are going down left and right, as these Cav Archers are trying to break out. Knights will be sent all the way back home by Slam. Behind this one, Barles is a very, very unbalanced eco, by the way. 1,000 food in the bank. Very, very little gold for Barles. So he needs to mass migrate for this gold mine. Gets a TC up on the stone. And now we're working towards Mangadai. Still, one thing that's worth pointing out is that Slam had a lot of TC idle time at the beginning of the game. Now it's a consistent wheel production, but he had quite a lot of idle time at the beginning. So that's one of the reasons why he's only 9 wheels ahead compared to Barles. Plus Barles killed 9 as well, so that was a nice one over there for our yellow player. And I feel like we're getting to the critical amount of Cav Archers over here for Barles. Plus, he's able to work towards a castle, and the jackpot for Barles would be a castle here in the middle, because that's where a huge amount of the gold is at. Securing a position there and then getting the Mangadai in from that forward position would be an excellent situation. And Scorpions would struggle against the Mangadai as well. Looks like Slam wants a castle himself, because he's mining stone like crazy. 16 on stone, he can already afford a castle, because he has Franks. Looks like he forgot about Franks, by the way, because he was gathering until 650 stone, as he's the one that tries to drop the castle in the middle. Will Barles see that? Because I think Barles may have seen that. I think Barles may have seen those villagers moving. He does. I think he knows exactly that Slam might be moving into the middle. He sees the wheels. He needs to just focus down the wheels, and that could be enough to swing the battle in his favor. The Knights will obviously try to make this one much, much harder for Barles over here, but I think there is enough Cav Archers here to potentially stop this castle. That's 50% only, and the Cav Archers are just killing the wheels. Wheel after wheel, Slam is gonna have to abandon that castle attempt right now. Still, that's a huge amount of Knights coming, but many of those Knights are also weak. Look at that. A lot of them have so low HP. I don't think that this is going up here for Slam. I don't think that's a possibility. There's more Knights coming in to reinforce. Cav Archers still trying to deny the villagers. And this one, this is gonna be an extremely important thing for the game. It looks like Barles will bail on this. One thing that Barles was able to accomplish is kill quite a few villagers here for Slam, and also quite a lot of armies. So Slam had to sacrifice a lot for that castle, and honestly, looking at those resources now for Barles, he needs to sell food, get a castle up here and go up to Imperial. Imperial Age is gonna be a thing here for Slam soon. So Barles needs to go there, and look at that. That's nice move from Barles. He's diving in, sniping a couple of villagers, but he's not progressing towards Imp, and Slam does. And if Slam beats him to Imperial by a massive margin, +4 defense, Cavalier will do the trick here. Also, there's a weak spot here on the walls of Barles that he may not notice. Cavarch is once again poking around. Slam has lost a lot of villagers, but that's where the free TC boom actually pays off. Now the Knights breaking in, and what's even worse for Barles is that he's not clicking up. This is where the macro of Slam shows compared to the macro of Barles, because he could easily click up, but he's just paying attention to so many directions. Looks like he doesn't have a market, and once again that shift queue may be an issue here, because I'm fairly certain he wanted to build that market before, but he didn't do. Herbal medicine! Herbal medicine! I mean, Slam probably wants to heal those knights inside the castle, but how often do you see herbal medicine being researched in a tournament game? Imperial Age on the way for Barles, but he's getting delayed very, very heavily. So that's a 1.5 minutes disadvantage, and Barles will need those castles to produce Mangodai. Slam doesn't need the castle to produce unique unit, he just needs to make knights, make trebs. The good thing though here for Barles, and that's what he has to do, is he needs to get some Mangodai out. Because he needs to snipe down the trebs with the Mangodai. Also, he's moving on the right side, he could find a jackpot here killing a lot of vills. I'm not saying it's not worth it, I'm just saying that it's unconventional to see herbal medicine. Look at what Barles is doing, by the way. He's getting a little bit of a surrounded fortification here, because that's where he wants the trebs to be at, and prevent the knights from diving in and sniping it. That's a smart move. The problem is that he's beaten to Imperial by a massive margin, and it looks like Slam will also see the Cav Archers coming in here, so Slam will be able to hold against this one. Barles will try to take down the Scorpions. Takes this fight over here. Barles, that was a horrible fight as well. Mangodai now queued up for Barles. He's mining stones, so there is going to be a second castle soon. Whoever loses his castle first here, I believe, is going to end up losing the game. Because both players have vital castles. For Slam, it's about the survival of this foothold in the middle. Whereas for Barles, it's about the Mangodai production facility. I like how these Cav Archers are still poking around trying to get some villager kills. And it looks like Barles is setting up a forward position here for some more raids. Cavalier on the way for Slam with +4 defense, and it very much seems like Barles will be able to bridge through the gap here. He's gonna have a couple of Mangodai out, as he is going to, look at that, stonewall his entire base. He knows exactly the knights are coming. He needs more than one villager stonewalling it though, because the time... There must be a hole here, right? Okay, there is no hole there, but the gate is almost broken through. Stone gate will help, but not by a massive margin. It's going to be apparently enough for a brief moment, but gate armor has been nerfed, so I'm not sure if this is enough for Barles. Look at this! Look at this traffic jam! Looks like Barles might be able to hold this section of the wall, as he's still queuing up Mangodai, so he probably wants to dive in and snipe that trebuchet. When the gate finishes, the gate might open, but it doesn't matter because the Cavalier break in on the other side. And now Barles will have to come back over here, and you are gonna have trebs shelling this castle here. I don't think there's a chance for Barles. I don't think there's a chance. It is just superior macro here by Slam, who also went for halberdiers, probably as a preemptive measure against light cavalry, but this is now an absolute slaughter. Barles is falling apart, and Slam is going to be one game away from getting to Red Bull Wololo main event. It will be his second Red Bull Wololo. What a better time. He played the first one, the inaugural Red Bull Wololo, to kick off a 5-tournament series, and then he is one step away from getting into the main event of Red Bull Wololo 5 in Heidelberg, Germany. Barles is trying to take down those trebs, but his eco has completely collapsed, and Slam is more than happy to trade his Cavalier for the amount of villagers that he has killed. Now it's even Steven in terms of villager KD, but there is no castle for the Mongols player here. Not a single castle. Which means no Mangodai. While Cav Archers may still be a thing, I feel like it is just going to be Cavalier overrunning you. And now those trebs can shift focus towards these production buildings. And indeed, Slam takes game number 3 here. Once again, something was wrong with the shift queue of Barles. because this market was not built for a long time. So probably part of the reason why things went so badly is because of that. But one thing is sure, Slam is outplaying Barles quite heavily today. Up 3-0. This is, by the way, the same Barles that actually won against Bacti 4-1. I know I mentioned this before, but this is just so unthinkable for me. And that was a couple of hours ago. As I said, it's pretty late in the evening for Barles, but I mean, I'm pretty certain that he at least is moderately used to playing late in the evenings, like Black Forest and stuff like that. So he's probably a player that shouldn't be shaken that much by the late time frame that he has to play in. Still, as I said, there is a small chance now for Barles to redeem himself. But he needs to win every single game from now on. One on his own home maps and then take 3 home maps away from Slam. And I am fairly certain that Slam is well prepared for his home maps. He's playing good on every single map, but if you get to the home map of Slam, that could be the place where Slam really shows his power. So Frank's will be a victory here for Slam, and Mongols will be a loss for Barles and Wade. Also a victory for Slam here. One game for Slam. One game to win it all. Is it actually putting pressure on him, though? This is a good question, because you could think that, hey, he is all good. He is, just one game away, he can come into this one calm. But sometimes being this close to victory actually makes you nervous, because you're like, oh yeah, I'm so close. I'm going to finish the game now, and then something goes wrong, and boom, you lose one game. And this is actually an interesting thing to discuss. Some players actually perform better when they are alright, so when they have such a big lead. But for some players, it can cause problems that they are this much ahead because, they sort of feel that they are so close to victory that they just need to do things that they would probably not do when they were, let's say, down 2 games or so. Bohemians Repose banned in the main event? I don't know for sure, but I think they are. So, 10.5 hours of streaming today, but it might not even be an 11-hour stream at this pace. Winged is the only home map remaining for Barles, and I did mention that the problem with Winged here is that it's a very, very cutthroat, very, very aggressive map. So you really are gonna have the issue of if one fight goes badly for Barles, it's over. So on the other hand, if you consider that Barles is already down 3 games, he might go full YOLO. He's got Magyars for this map, but I think he's gonna be up against Bulgarians, or maybe Mayans will be Barles' safe choice here. Mayans would be an intriguing idea. Alternative for Slam is Kumans, with the cheaper production buildings that could be very valuable on Winged. Because Winged is also a map where the 2 players are pretty close to each other, so it makes some sense to go for a civilization that can just flood out units. So, Slam and Barles, 1 game away from qualifying for Red Bull Wololo 5 is Slam. I know I mentioned this before. We're going to Winged, and we are gonna have Bulgarians for Slam, which is sort of the predictable safe pick here. Barles goes for Ethiopians. So this is where he was saving his Ethiopians pick at. He was actually drafting that for the first time. So, first overall pick in the draft, Ethiopians. He didn't use it on runestones, which is sort of unconventional. He instead used Huns. So it looks like he has a plan here with Ethiopians. I'm just not sure what. I feel like Bulgarians are a lot more scouts heavy here, and that can help so much when it comes to mobility on this map. So I'm actually favoring Bulgarians here. The fact that you can get the blacksmith upgrades cheaper is also something that's very, very nice. And I feel like the Bulgarian skirm and scout play is something that the Ethiopians will struggle against very, very badly in this one. All right. So with that, the spectator countdown ends. Barles, it's now or never for him. It would be a disappointment for him to end his Red Bull Wololo 5 qualifiers with a 4-0 defeat. Interesting fact, in the previous Red Bull Wololo qualifiers, Slam actually lost 3-0 to Valas in the qualifiers, and Valas is actually a player that practices a lot with Barles. I'm not saying that they are teammates, but for example, for Empire Wars Duo 2, they signed up as a team, so Barles and Valas know each other quite well. It would be an interesting scenario to see Slam 4-0ing Barles, whose pretty much teammate eliminated Slam in the previous Red Bull Wololo. We'll have Slam on the right side as Bulgarians in red, left side will be Ethiopians for Barles in yellow, rushing up an archer range immediately, but also pulling all villagers from gold. Skirms only? What? Is this a spear and skirm forward type of a thing? Or what am I going to witness here? Something is really cheesy with this one. Or is it gonna be spear and skirm defense into fish boom? I have no idea. What's the plan here for Barles? Or did he just misclick his villagers? If he misclicked his villagers, that's a blunder. Maybe it was intentional though. Maybe he wanted the Slam to believe that he's not mining gold. I don't know what exactly happened here, but the lack of gold is going to hurt for Barles eventually. So, we'll have scouts coming in here for Slam. He's hiding his intentions very, very nicely. Barles has a scout forward, but I'm not sure if he has seen the stable just yet. Barles has seen the stable, so he knows scouts are coming. Barles will now add the ranges. And this might be a stone-selling fast castle-ish attempt here for Barles, because that market is pretty early. We're gonna have scouts coming in here. No skirmishers just yet for Slam. I think he's about to pop out the first one soon. Range is already up, and looks like Slam is adding archers, which is sort of unconventional with Bulgarians. Bulgarian archers are just bad. Well, there is no problem with Bulgarian archers. The problem is with the fact that they can't even be upgraded to crossbows. So you probably don't want to have a lot of those reaching Castle Age. For now, a couple of them is perfectly fine. That's a decent amount of scouts, and the cheaper upgrades for Bulgarian units on the blacksmith definitely matters here. +1/+1 is already in. It's 2 spearmen, so you probably don't want to jump this if you're Slam. But behind this one, Slam is moving out to get a dock up, a sneaky dock to be precise, on the very north part of this pond. I like that he's trying to sneak the dock in, because it's easier to hide that dock over here than it is to hide it over here in this area. So for now, Slam is still getting archers out, surprisingly, not even adding a single skirmisher. Meanwhile, for Barles, he's going to start walling off the left side of the map. I like that he's at least partially walling himself. It's a big investment, but it actually buys him a lot of freedom, something that he needs against a much faster civilization like Bulgarians. Barles buying himself the food he wants to go up. I think it might be worth selling your stone right now and buying it back later, honestly. Because you could get a pretty decent power spike with Castle Age, and the sooner you click up, the sooner you will have the chance to utilize those crossbows, and Ethiopians do get free pikemen. So that's probably the plan here for Barles. It looks like he's not really willing to sell his stone though, and that could be a problem. The longer you wait, the bigger the chance is for Slam to just jump on you with scouts that now do have full upgrades. So I feel like Barles, for every moment he's delaying his Castle Age, it's gonna be worse and worse. And let's be honest, he probably doesn't want to play free TC boom here at the beginning. Might as well sell your stone and just go up a little faster. He's still going to beat his opponent to Castle Age here, but I feel like he has wasted a lot of precious moments here. He would be 30-40 seconds into the age up process already. That would have helped quite a bit. Also, now he is losing all his army, and this is where you're the most vulnerable at. when you clicked up to the next stage, you're extremely vulnerable, especially to scouts, and I have a very bad feeling about this one for Barles. There is a handful of spearmen over here, but no matter how hard I look, that's 7 scouts with full upgrades in feudal, whereas the spearmen have nothing. The spearmen have nothing, quick walls are coming in here for Barles, and it looks like Slam is hesitant to dive into this one. Slam will have to, because if he doesn't dive in, he's going to struggle against the Castle Age opponent. But remember, Slam actually opening with fire galleys. What is Slam doing here? I think Slam might just believe that his opponent is fishing as well. He probably cannot believe that he's encountering such a low resistance right now, because he isn't really encountering that much army from Barles. He probably isn't anticipating him going up to the next stage though, and so far, Barles has been unpunished for that fast stage up, but that may not remain that way for long. Archers diving into the spearman, nice defense there for Barles. That's very, very nice, and he has survived the crucial time of the game, surviving until you get up to Castle Age, and from this point on, it's going to be much easier for Barles, and it's going to be a problem for Jordan. He's going to be up against pikemen and crossbows. Not a huge amount of crossbows, but on such an open map, that's just enough to walk up to your gold mine and destroy it as it is. Slam now going up to Castle Age, if he has enough food to drop off. I like how the scouts were sent over here, but Barles, if he has a stable, he can make a camel. If not, just leave 2 pikemen behind and you can deal with those scouts over there. As now the pikemen and soon-to-be crossbows are marching up. He needs to do damage with this, as the scouts arrive on the wood line. Pikemen will obviously make a quick work of that. So, Slam looping around. There is a hole here, so the scouts can come all the way around here. Barles moving up with the crossbow and the pikemen. He's actually hitting the wrong part of Slam's base, though. This is the reinforced part that he's not gonna get through. If he went the other direction, he would be able to hit the gold mine. Now it has a tower on it, so it's gonna be harder. But that forced the defensive tower from Slam. That's already an achievement, I would say. Now the wood line will be idled. Things are probably going decent here for Barles. I'm not saying that he's winning, but this is probably the game where he has the most chance of winning so far. Slam able to get to Castle Age though, and I see 2 ranges. That's gonna be a lead-skirm play. Quick walls are coming in here for Slam, but there is so much space to wall here. And it looks like Barles will run past. Slam is gonna have to do a lot of walling. That's a massive investment here. Walling with this many houses is an enormous investment for Slam, and it also corners him within his own base. Now it's gonna be more crossbow pikemen coming up, and I feel like Barles needs to switch gears and just go for siege. Things are falling apart for Slam though. He's trying to go for a lead skirm, but now his eco is entirely migrating. And sure, he's gonna have a lead skirm, but he will have no tools of stopping the next wave. Look at this mass migration, and those guys are going to be running straight into their death because these crossbows are around. This could be enough for Barles to launch a comeback attempt. Barles missing those villagers just by a couple of tiles, but had he seen this, he would already be slaying those vills. Still, there is barely any food income for Barles right now. There is a couple of elite skirms popping out, but the elite skirms, they actually have pretty decent upgrades. No ballistic still for either player. And I think Barles is looking for the villagers that escaped, but he can't find them because they're over here. Those crossbows still marching into the base, and now Slam has enough skirms. So Barles has to be careful. If he finds these villagers, it's game over immediately for Slam. He already has a pretty set back economy, let's just say that, as we already have a second TC for Barles. Barles also tried to go for a dock here, but that never really came to life, especially with those scouts that will probably intercept the villager, to be honest. Crossbows heading back, and now they find the villagers on Slam's wood line. So wisely closing the distance, that's beautifully done. You don't alert your opponent of your presence until you have closed the distance and maximize your damage output. So villager after villager going down over here. Scouts from Slam also running into the TC fire. Slam does have some fishing eco, that's totally true, but that's something that Barles is about to contest in a matter of moments. And what's even bigger is that Slam already is behind by 7 vills, and look at the eco efficiency. That's just horrendous. The wood income is problematic, so reseeding these farms will be a problem soon, I believe. His gold income was idled. He can't make an additional TC. Well, he can because he's Bulgarians, but couldn't make 2 additional TCs with the stone he has. A lot of things are going right here for Barles. He may not be done just yet. Elite Skirm coming in as well for him. And the crossbow, look at this. This is a smart move. You send in the crossbows, and you're just going to sink the fishing ships that way, and the fire galley will come from the other side, just to make sure that those fishing ships won't survive. Even the villager is getting poked down. Very nicely done here by Barles. This is why he's taking over by 11 villagers in this one. Meanwhile, we got some crossbows poking on the walls here, but not really achieving much. As looks like Barles is massing fire galleys before unleashing them. A couple of skirms coming from the other direction trying to intercept those crossbows. But look at this. While Slam is chasing these crossbows here, the next wave of crossbows already comes in here for Barles. Now he has Botkin arrow as well. Well, he already has Botkin arrow, but now he has ballistics. So with ballistics, he should be able to stomp all these villagers over here. Looks like those crossbows are once again going for the fish though. As we have a knight out for Barles. He just seems to be one step ahead of Slam right now. Because that knight is going to finish off the skirmishers. And we're talking about 28 versus 17 army numbers. This time this is a bad move from Barles. He probably patrolled in his crossbows. And they just started shooting at the lumber camp. But still, a couple of villagers will get picked off here by Barles over here. Slam loses 4, I believe. Could have been more if Barles actually didn't start shooting the lumber camp, but actually started shooting at the vills. And some more pikemen running around over here harassing as well. The dock of Barles may go down as he starts mining stone, but he might just try to unpop them, maybe even with some crossbow support. Slam actually switching into knights, and that could swing the battle back in his favor real quick though. Because the thing is that Slam is behind by 16 vills. But Slam's knights are gonna clean the crossbows here. He's got the elite skirms, and suddenly Barles is the player that doesn't really have a good answer to those knights. There is gonna be camels being added here. But Ethiopian camels aren't particularly good because you do not have bloodlines on them. So Bulgarians will be pretty happy about this one. For now, Barles is out of gold. Barles is out of gold and he can't find more. He's TCing the middle right now, so that's why he wasn't mining gold. I think that at this point, this will turn into a starve the opponent out of gold scenario. So Barles could easily start thinking about just going pikeman defense against the knights, with a couple of camels maybe, and mine stone. Mine stone with 10 vills, get a castle up here. Because a castle would prevent Slam from getting the gold, and then Slam doesn't really have a choice. There is some extra gold lying around here, but that's not an awful lot of reliable gold income. And just the fact that Slam gets delayed at taking this gold mine is already something that would be a value for Barles. He's got a pretty decisive score lead that mostly comes from his economical lead. Slam's fishing economy also now visiting the bottom of the pond, as the scout is still with 1 HP poking around over here. Barles is pretty decent information, by the way. Look at that scouting from Barles. I think some of that has to be auto-scouting because it's so clean, every single tile is discovered, that I feel like that scout may have been an auto-scout for some time. So, bit of a scuffle over here. The camels don't really have great upgrades on them, and looks like Barles is getting pushed back. Slam's army numbers are looking better and better, and one thing that you have to consider is that yes, Slam is behind, but what if Slam just goes for a forward castle, or even a Krepos drop? He could easily snowball the game, and I feel like we are actually about to witness that. Here comes a monk. Monk gets a conversion on a knight. Some more camels joining the party over here, but I think the skirms are enough to deal with these camels for now. And Slam wanted a Krepos drop. Is it going to materialize though? Because there is more camels coming in. Looks like archer ranges are no longer working for Barles, and there is the Krepos. I feel like if this goes up, suddenly Barles will find himself in a much tougher situation than he was in the entire game. Because suddenly Slam is going to start spamming Krepos all around his base, cutting off his access to gold in the middle, and I kind of feel like that 17 to 15 army number is kind of misleading because you had Barles with a pretty ragtag army of pikemen, camels, knight, scout, monk, fire galley, archer. He doesn't really have a huge amount of power units over here, or something that has even good upgrades. Whereas on the other side, not a huge amount of army here for Slam, but it's much cleaner. It's +1/+2 knights with good upgrades, and the lead scarves also with good upgrades. Thank you so much for the 22 months of resub, Warrior, and I appreciate that a lot. And it looks like we have a Slam fan over here who might be very, very happy, because this Crepost over here is a death sentence, I believe, for Barles. He's not gonna have any gold income. And since his army apparently is inferior, it very much seems like he won't really be able to expand to the north for these additional gold mines either. Barles selling resources, but that's barely enough gold right now. The castle, or well, the Crepost goes up, and then Barles will have to evacuate the middle. I think things are falling apart for Barles. I have seen Barles playing a lot better than today. It might just be, you know, exhaustion, it might just be Slam playing a lot better than him, and that's what makes it feels like Barles is playing weak. But one thing is sure, Barles didn't play 100%, I have seen him play better. On the other hand, Slam is playing with surgical precision. It wasn't always crystal clear. Like, for example, things like this shouldn't happen. Villager going down to a 1 HP scout, don't tell me you're losing a second one. Don't tell me you're losing a second one over here. A castle goes up for Barles though, as Slam is going to drop another Crepost over here this time. The castle, however, is capable of destroying the Crepost, which allows Barles to regain control over this gold mine, and Barles still has a way better economy, so hold on for a moment, because Slam is at a kind of underwhelming villager count. Talk about walling behind. We have a huge amount of house walls over here, stone walls on the left side for Barles. He's stacking into more pikemen, I assume, because that's scale mail coming in. That scout is still alive, by the way, and it was harassing Slam pretty heavily. The Crepost will eventually go down. Shotel warriors. This is gonna be a masterpiece or a disaster piece. The thing is that Shotels do eat skirms, but Shotels should still die to knights. And now the knights are running in, so from this point on, Slam can just run in and kill villagers. I don't think Shotels will work here. The Shotels are coming in to take down the Crepost only, but I mean, they're so fragile that the Crepost basically one-shots them. That's so bad for Barles. He was trying to take down that Crepost faster, but it doesn't matter. And Slam coming in with his villagers. He has to be careful though. Slam can't afford to throw away those vills like that, but come on. Now half of the eco for Barles' Island. Talk about a Crepost drop. That is one in the middle of the farming eco. That just basically destroys the entire food economy of Barles over here. Disaster strikes Barles in multiple directions. He's mining stone for a castle, but does he even have the tools to get a castle up? I seriously doubt it. Honestly, the best thing that Barles could do is castle drop here. It wouldn't actually save his base, but it would make the game equally massive for the two players. That's probably the best it could achieve. Go Shotel warriors, and that's exactly what you should do. Shotels, castle drop, and just try to destroy Slam faster than Slam destroys you, sort of. Still 112 villagers for Barles, and he has some foothold over here. 13 on stone, and Shotel warriors are coming in increasing numbers. Barles is gonna need a bit of a miracle here, because he's not stopping this force, that's for sure. And there's gonna be another Crepost. Come on! Talk about Slam! Oh my goodness, the Crepost rush. What a magnificent build. What a magnificent build. As we're gonna have a couple of pikemen coming out here for Barles. Barles obviously doesn't want to give up on this one easily, but now it's just a handful of Shotels. They do have decent upgrades, but I don't think that the numbers are sufficient here. And the thing is that Barles is dying faster than Slam is. So now it's only 103 villagers here for Barles, and there is nowhere to go from this corner. So that is basically minus 15-20 vills here. You see Slam is even making a siege workshop with battering rams. It's a massive amount of chaos that we have over here, and the Crepost in the middle does go down. Barles can now afford a castle. But where would he even build that? I have absolutely no clue. Another Crepost comes in here just to be sure, you know. As the Knights do clean up the Shoros, or do they? They do not. And the Shoros could definitely start running around and just slaying villagers left and right. Here's the castle for Barles. He wants to hold this corner over here. It's gonna be close, and I don't think that he can actually destroy that ram. Lord Doubt may smile upon us here. I think the castle goes up, but the pieces will pretty much go down immediately to the rams. And as I said, the Crepost prevents the villagers from taking down that ram over there. Barles is trying, but he's losing his entire eco in the process. It's 91 villagers, 89, and now we're talking about 4 Shoro warriors. He's really trying, but this ship has sailed away, I believe. 102 population against 129. Now Slam is the one expanding quite rapidly, and he's the one with the map control. Barles barely has any food eco, and as I said, these rams are protected by the covering fire of the Creposts. Shoros will try to take them down, but Shoros are so fragile that the Creposts will just take them down ASAP. Looks like it's gonna go down, but I mean, Barles' eco is just not operational at all. Conics also being mixed in here. 26 army compared to 18, but the eco numbers are starting to show here. Still, Slam is just taking the gold over here because he would have trouble accessing gold otherwise. Barles, big survivor, trying to move to the top of the map, as that's gonna be another Crepost here, right? Somewhere around over here, just to deny that gold mine. Holy potatoes, what a chaotic game this is. And, I mean, as long as the castles are alive, there is a minor hope for Barles here, but that hope is very, very minor. But it looks like Barles is not gonna give up on this easily. He's gonna fight until the last man alive. Which is somewhat reasonable, because if you think about that, Creposts are nice, but as long as the castles are here, those are going to be hard to be dealt with. I think what Jordan has to do is probably what he's doing right now, banking food and banking gold. He needs to go into Imperial. So the win condition here right now for Slam is Imp, and then you need 1 castle to trap this down, and then you win it. The only reason why Barles hasn't actually resigned yet and why he's still alive is because he's got castles, something that Creposts can't take down. Looks like this ram over here is going to die as well. Villagers will be sent by Slam to go for repairs. And here come the Shoros, but look at these guys just absolutely getting slaughtered. The inefficiency of those Shoros here is just mind-boggling. 155 kills for Slam, 92 losses, so that KD explains a lot as well. And I feel like this is a game that Barles is dragging out, but he's got less than 1% chance of winning this one. He's such in an awful position. If it wasn't for this Crepost in the middle of his eco, so if these 3 Creposts weren't here, I would say that maybe he's got a shot, but without that, he's got like no food eco. And as I said, Jordan will eventually go up to Imperial and then snowball the game. That's quite a lot of weak cavalry, by the way, for Jordan, so I'm always saying Jordan, but it's actually Slam. Sorry for that. It has been 11 hours of casting for me today, and my brain is just out of power now. So, yeah, when I'm saying Jordan, I'm thinking about Slam. That's why his name is up over there. I've casted too many Jordan games today. I'm starting to confuse the 2 players, and it's more about just my brain running out of power entirely. So, speaking for 11 hours, I will probably just eat something and go to sleep after this. But anyways, we have a set here to finish first. We are gonna have Slam another Crepost drop. It's all about denying resources now. This denies all the baobab trees over here, this already denied the gold, and Slam is just sort of chasing Barles all around the map here. Meanwhile, you will have Barles diving in here with the Shoros. He's just trying to relieve pressure over this part of the map and just play out a very, very long game. So, take down these buildings, but here come the battering rams, and this is what Slam was waiting for. He seems to have an answer to everything but Barles is doing, and this is soon turning from resilience into desperation for Barles. Because he was very resilient, trying to stay alive and just play a very, very long game here. But it just doesn't work, because there is always an answer here. by Slam. And with the Conics finishing off those Rams, I can tell you that this castle might be going down as well for Barles. He doesn't really have anything else left to protect here anyways, so it's not like it's a big loss. 86 villagers, big fight over here as well, villagers going down. I think Slam has gotten to a point where he wants to send in all his stuff to kill the villagers and that's it. By the way, Slam is pretty much out of gold, so that's not ideal. Single villager castle coming in here for Barles on the north. So, as I said, I think Slam just needs to get one castle up, sell some stone first, click into Imperial. Get one castle up and trap this down. Because if Slam gets to traps, then it's game over. Alternative is that you secure this gold mine here for Slam. He's got a couple of villagers here ready to take it. So if this castle goes down, some extra gold could be accessible for Slam, but he's just gonna balance his eco, Imperial Age. And also, this villager gets stopped in his castle building effort. The Crepost will come in just now for Slam to secure this area. There is the castle for Slam, and I feel like with that, the hopes of Barles are just fading away. It's gonna be a 4-0 stomp by Slam. This Slam is not the Slam that we used to see in tournaments a month ago, 2 months ago. This is an absolutely rejuvenated Slam. Someone who really felt motivated after his disappointing defeat in the previous qualifiers. Because in the previous qualifiers there was a lot of criticism towards him that he was playing too passive, that he was very much underperforming. Looks like he read the criticism, buffed himself up for this tournament, and he is ready for Red Bull Wololo 5. Slam is heading to Heidelberg, Germany as the second player who qualifies for Red Bull Wololo 5. Congratulations for him. Very, very nicely done. And with that, Slam is the second qualifier player for Red Bull Wololo 5. Before we go away, I just want to give a quick shout out that before he would head to Heidelberg for the main event, he is also going to play an Empire Wars duo in the next couple of weeks. He's teamed up with Viper and Doubt, so that's gonna be a dream team, I think, for many. This Slam and Doubt, probably the fan favorite team, and Viper, will see how much he plays. It depends probably on the health of his wrist as well. But Slam, moving on, 4-0 over here. Absolutely dominant performance. Good performance from Barles as well, but it really felt like it just wasn't his day. He needs to still find some consistency, but there is no shame in losing in the final round. A lot of people would be extremely happy if they have even just gotten to the round of 16th, let alone the decider game. This time around, Slam is the one that deserves to be in the main event of Red Bull Wololo 5, his second Red Bull after the inaugural first Red Bull Wololo. The first one, and potentially the last one, he decided to put everything into this one, and he managed to go through